compared with quantitative research, where the emphasis is on accuracy and error. The key challenge of qualitative research is to tell a story that is convincing. A convincing story in management requires both a clear explanation of how the analysis was undertaken and the conclusions reached, and a clear demonstration of how the raw data were transformed into meaningful conclusions. Answer to the question what makes rigorous qualitative research is not straightforward, and you could argue that finding appropriate criteria could be a research project in itself. In this video, I will discuss the more popular quality criteria for ensuring rigor in qualitative research and highlight seminal texts that provide additional, more specific criteria that may apply to your qualitative designs. In quantitative research, the quality criteria are broadly agreed upon, though individual researchers may adhere to them to greater or lesser extent and may come up with various arguments why they are not following the guidelines. They generally agree what the gold standards are. This is not the case in qualitative research. Not only there are multiple and fundamentally different quality criteria, there is also no agreement what criteria are most suitable for qualitative research. There are several reasons for this lack of consensus, and they involve disciplinary, evidentiary, and aesthetic issues. The key consideration, however, concerns philosophical assumptions. Qualitative studies and qualitative research is a broad church, and research designs differ in that they can be more interpretative or positivistic. The variations in philosophical assumptions occur both between the designs. For example, ethnography is probably more interpretivist than case study, and within designs. For example, ethnography can be more or less positivistic. Different sets of criteria apply to qualitative studies within positivism, and different set of criteria apply to interpretivist designs. I will start with quality criteria for evaluating positivist and post-positivist qualitative research. Qualitative research in that flavor favors criteria that closely resemble quantitative notions of validity, reliability, and objectivity. Researchers doing positive or post-positive qualitative research will tend to rely on one or more conventional benchmarks of rigor that are commonly used for evaluating quantitative research. For example, internal reliability may be sought by employing multiple researchers within one study and thus assuring inter-rater reliability. There will be emphasis on internal validity and close correspondence match between empirical data and theoretical ideas. This may be achieved, for example, through triangulation of data from multiple sources, which relates to the idea that the researcher needs to ensure he does not influence his research with biases. The research design in positivistic qualitative study will tend to be less flexible, more planned, and will tend to follow more strict procedures of data collection and analysis that assure objectivity, rigor, and validity of findings. Further guidelines of quality can be found in Yin 2013 or Eisenhardt 1989, who provide guidelines for positivistic case study research. Similarly, Glaser 1979-2005 offers positivistic treatment for grounded theory research. As this table taken from Easterby Smith illustrate, different philosophical stances may apply within the same research design. For example, some grounded theory researchers, like Glaser, may follow positivism, where other researchers, like Strauss, may favor interpretivism. The corresponding designs and quality criteria will follow. Consequently, your adherence to either positivistic or interpretativist camp is not necessarily signaled by the design, and research designs may be pragmatically neutral. For example, grounded theory can be used within positivism, post-positivism, as shown by Glaser. However, I will move on next to quality criteria for evaluating interpretivist qualitative research. Interpretivist researchers have moved away from quantitative standards of quality and have developed their own sets of criteria which relate to trustworthiness. Initially proposed by Guba and Lincoln, trustworthiness encompasses 4 elements: credibility, transferability, dependability, and confirmability. In short, credibility means that research needs to be carried out according to good practice of qualitative research. Confirmability means that the researcher conducts their study in good faith, and this may mean that they do not purposely impose their ideas or inclination on study participants' stories and findings. To evidence confirmability, researchers may seek confirmation from the members of the social world they have studied, for example, respondent validation, that the collected data and findings correspond with their views. Transferability refers to the transferability of qualitative findings to other contexts. Because qualitative research in general lacks replicability, transferability requires that enough detail is provided for the findings concerning empirical context and the study procedures, that, for example, thick description is used. This helps the readers to judge if the findings may apply to other contexts. Dependability requires from researcher to adopt auditing approach. This means that all phases of the research process are documented and accessible to other researchers. Beyond these general criteria, specific qualitative approaches can require additional considerations for ensuring rigor. These considerations may complement or replace the general guidelines outlined above. For example, see Stake, 1995, who provides criteria for interpretivist case study, or Kathy Shamas, 2006, who offers guidelines for interpretativist grounded theory methodology. I will finish this session by returning to a table from Easterby and Smith, a table that summarizes all concerns of all researchers, regardless of their philosophical orientation. The table lists parameters of research designs, such as unit of analysis, sampling of research questions, and then shows how different orientations would approach the parameter in a different manner. I am drawing your attention to the table because I feel it represents a useful checklist for evaluating the quality of published research. Further guidelines or other checklists can be found in guidelines issued by editors for reviewers. I have included a selection of such papers in the session of theorizing, and here I'm referring to a few more.